My boss promoted me to senior architect, but canceled my raise due to budget cuts. So I let the $10 million launch crash and burn over the weekend. The email from HR landed in my inbox at 4:45 p.m. on a Friday, exactly 15 minutes before the biggest deployment weekend of the fiscal year. The subject line was innocuous: compensation review status, update. But as I read the corporate jargon, the air in my home office seemed to vanish, replaced by a suffocating, prickly heat that radiated from my chest up to my ears. I could hear the blood rushing in my head, a rhythmic whoosh-whoosh that drowned out the hum of my 3 monitors, and the Slack notifications pinging relentlessly in the background like a digital heartbeat. Due to unforeseen Q1 market volatility and a strategic freeze on operational expenditures, the email read, in a font that looked far too cheerful for the news it carried, the salary adjustment associated with your interim promotion to Senior Solutions Architect has been deferred indefinitely. We appreciate your continued dedication during this challenging period. Deferred indefinitely. I sat there, gripping my ergonomic mouse so hard the plastic creaked under my thumb. For 6 months, I had been living in a special kind of hell. I was technically hired as a tech lead, a job that required 40 hours a week and paid a decent but not earth-shattering salary. But back in July, my manager, Marcus, had pulled me into a glass-walled conference room, handed me a lukewarm coffee, and sold me a dream. He told me the senior architect had quit. He told me I was the only one who knew the legacy code well enough to save the company. He told me that if I stepped up and took on the architect role, managing 3 offshore teams in different time zones, handling the client relations for our biggest account, and overseeing the entire CI/CD pipeline, the title and a massive 40% raise would be mine after a 6-month probation period. I took the bait. I didn't just swallow the hook. I swallowed the line, the sinker, and the rod. For 6 months, I worked 80-hour weeks. I missed my 5-year anniversary dinner with my wife. I ate cold pizza at my desk while she ate alone at our favorite Italian spot. I developed a twitch in my left eye that wouldn't go away. I fixed critical bugs at 3 a.m. while Marcus was posting pictures of his golf game on Instagram with the caption #HustleLife. I built the entire infrastructure for the Project Helios launch, a $10 million contract that was supposed to go live this Sunday at midnight. And now, 15 minutes before the end of the day, 15 minutes before I was supposed to sign my life away for another weekend of unpaid overtime to launch their golden goose, they were telling me the money didn't exist. I didn't scream. I didn't throw my monitor. A cold, terrifying clarity washed over me. It was the feeling of a bomb squad technician realizing the wire he just cut was the wrong one, but deciding he didn't care about the explosion anymore. I picked up my phone. My hands were steady. I dialed Marcus. "Hey, buddy," Marcus answered on the first ring, his voice chirpy and loud. I could hear the clinking of glasses and the murmur of a crowd in the background. He was already at happy hour. He was celebrating the launch I was supposed to be executing. All set for the weekend deployment. The client is super excited. I just got off the phone with their CTO. "I got the email from HR, Marcus," I said, my voice dead flat. "Oh, right," he sighed, the fake cheer dropping slightly, replaced by a patronizing tone he usually reserved for interns. "Yeah, bummer about that. Corporate is tightening the belt. Q1 numbers were a little soft, but hey, the title is official on LinkedIn. That's great exposure for you, and once we land Helios, I can probably fight for a bonus in Q3, maybe a spot bonus." "You promised me a 40% raise effective today," I said, cutting him off. "You said it was approved. You said it was a formality. I have the email from July where you said, quote, the money is locked in." "It was," Marcus insisted, sounding annoyed that I was ruining his drink. "But things change, Op. The market is fluid. Look, we're a family here. We all make sacrifices. I'm taking a hit on my bonus too, you know. Just get Helios live this weekend, make it smooth, and we'll talk later. I gotta run. The VP is waving me over. Don't let me down." He hung up. "We're a family." I looked at the phone. Family. Family doesn't lie to you for 6 months to exploit your labor. Family doesn't leave you to drown while they drink scotch. I looked at the clock. 4:58 p.m. I looked at the 3 terminal windows open on my screen. They were logged into the production server with root access. I was the only person in the company who had the encryption keys to authorize the final code merge. The 3 offshore teams, one in India, one in Ukraine, one in Brazil, were waiting in the staging channel messaging me. "Sir, waiting for green light to deploy, sir. Ready for merge, sir. The window opens in 10 minutes." If I didn't authorize the merge, the code stayed in staging. If the code stayed in staging, the new platform wouldn't launch on Sunday. If the platform didn't launch, the client could invoke a penalty clause that would cost the company thousands of dollars an hour and potentially void the contract. I typed a command into the terminal, not the command to deploy. Exit. Session terminated. Then I opened Outlook. I found my original employment contract from 2 years ago. I scrutinized the roles and responsibilities section for a tech lead. It was very specific: code review, feature development, bug fixes. Nowhere did it say deployment management, architecture, or weekend on-call support. I drafted a new email to Marcus, CCing HR and the VP of Engineering. Subject: Ray, compensation review and role reversion. Marcus, I received the update regarding the cancellation of the salary adjustment for the senior architect role. Since the compensation has been deferred indefinitely, I must respectfully decline the promotion. Effective immediately, I am reverting to my contracted role as tech lead. Per my original contract, my working hours are Monday through Friday, 9:00 a.m. to 5:00 p.m. I am not authorized for on-call support, architectural deployments, or management of offshore teams. I have logged out of the production environment and transferred the ticket queue back to the general pool. Have a great weekend. I hit send at 5:00 p.m. exactly. Then I did something I haven't done in 2 years. I turned off my work phone. I shut down my laptop. I unplugged my router just to be safe. And then I went to the kitchen and cracked open a cold beer. Saturday morning was beautiful, usually. On a deployment weekend, I would be up at 4 a.m., chugging energy drinks, staring at logs, putting out fires. Today, I slept until 10 a.m. I made pancakes for my wife. She looked at me like I was an alien. "Aren't you supposed to be working?" she asked, holding her coffee. "You said this was the big one." "I quit the big one," I said, flipping a pancake. "Or rather, I quit doing the job they aren't paying me for." "Good," she said, and she kissed me. Around noon, my personal cell phone rang. I had blocked Marcus's number the night before, along with the office line. This was a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again immediately, and again. Finally, I picked it up. "Hello." Thank God, it was Marcus. He sounded like he was hyperventilating. He was calling from his wife's phone. I could hear the sheer panic in his voice, a high-pitched frequency of terror. "Why is your phone off? The teams are sitting idle. Nothing has been deployed. The client is screaming at the VP. I've been calling you for 4 hours." "Who is this?" I asked, feigning ignorance, leaning back in my chair. "It's Marcus. Stop playing games. Log in right now and authorize the merge. We are 12 hours behind schedule. The database migration hasn't even started." "Marcus," I said, taking a slow sip of coffee, "I'm not sure why you're calling me on a Saturday. I'm a tech lead. I don't work weekends, remember. Budget cuts. I reverted to my contract." "I don't care about the contract," he shrieked. His voice cracked. "You are the only one with the encryption keys. You are the only one who knows the sequence. If Helios doesn't launch by midnight Sunday, we lose the contract. I told them you were handling it. I told the VP everything was green." That sounds like an architect's problem, I said calmly. And since you don't have the budget for an architect, I guess you don't have a launch. You should probably check the logs yourself. I don't know how to check the logs, he roared. I'm a manager. I will fire you. I will sue you for negligence. I will make sure you never work in this town again. Get online now. You can't fire me for working my contracted hours, I reminded him. And if you want me to do architect work, I need an architect's contract, signed, with the back pay, and the raise in my inbox. We can't do that on a weekend. HR is closed, legal is closed. Then I guess the launch is closed too, I said. Don't call this number again, Marcus. This is for friends and family only, and we aren't family. I hung up. I blocked his wife's number. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I spent the rest of the weekend hiking. I breathed fresh air. I didn't think about servers. I didn't think about code. But the anxiety was there lurking. I knew I was playing a dangerous game. This was malicious compliance on a nuclear scale. I was costing them millions. Sunday night, I checked my personal email, not my work email. There was a message from the VP of Engineering, Mr. Henderson. Subject urgent, please call me. I didn't call, I went asleep. I walked into the office on Monday morning at 8:59 a.m. The atmosphere was apocalyptic. It was quiet, but it was the quiet of a battlefield after the slaughter. The developers looked like zombies, dark circles under their eyes, hair messy. They had clearly been there all weekend trying to figure out my system without the keys. Marcus's office door was open. He was sitting at his desk, his head in his hands. He looked like he had aged 10 years in 48 hours. His tie was undone. There were empty pizza boxes stacked in the corner. Standing over him was Mr. Henderson. Henderson is a terrifying man. He's ex-military, 6'4", and speaks very softly. When I walked past, Henderson spotted me. You, Henderson pointed a finger at me. In here now. I walked in, I stood tall. Good morning. Where were you? Henderson asked. His voice was low and dangerous. We missed the Helios launch. The client has invoked the penalty clause. We are bleeding money. Marcus says you went AWOL. He says you sabotaged the project. I didn't go AWOL, I said, pulling a printed copy of my original contract and the HR email from my bag. I slid them across the desk. I was informed on Friday at 4:45 p.m. that my promotion was effectively canceled due to budget cuts. I simply accepted that decision and reverted to the duties outlined in my active contract. Tech leads do not handle weekend deployments. Tech leads do not manage offshore teams. I assumed Marcus, as the director who canceled my raise, had a contingency plan. Henderson picked up the papers. He read the HR email about the indefinite deferral. He read the contract. He looked at the timestamp on my email to Marcus. He turned to Marcus. You told me he was being compensated, Henderson said to Marcus. You told me the budget for the architect role was secured. You told me the team was happy. I was working on it, Marcus stammered, sweating profusely. I thought he would be a team player. I thought he cared about the company. You tried to get a senior architect for free, I interjected. You lied to me for 6 months, and you gambled the $10 million contract on the hope that I would be too scared to stand up for myself. Henderson looked at me. Can you launch it today? I can, I said. The code is ready. It just needs the authorization key. Do it, Henderson ordered. I can't, I said. Not as a tech lead. It's above my pay grade, liability issues. Henderson narrowed his eyes. What do you want? I need the senior architect title, I listed, counting on my fingers. I need the 40% raise, retroactive to the day I started doing the job 6 months ago. I need a written apology from Marcus. And I need a severance package of 6 months' salary pre-signed in case of retaliation. I want it in writing, before I touch a keyboard. The room was silent. Marcus looked like he was praying for a meteor to hit the building. Henderson didn't blink. He pulled out a pen. "Done, go see HR. They are expecting you. I already called them." He turned back to Marcus. "Pack your things. You're done. Security will escort you out." I walked out of the office with a signed offer letter for a $160,000 salary and a check for $20,000 in back pay. I launched Helios by noon. It ran perfectly. The client was annoyed by the delay but happy with the product. Marcus is currently open to work on LinkedIn. He reached out to me yesterday to ask for a reference. He said, "No hard feelings, right? It was just business." I left him on read. So, dear viewers, am I the monster for letting the project burn to get what I was owed? Or did I just teach them the most expensive lesson of their lives? If you have made it this far and want to see more videos like this, then kindly subscribe and turn on notifications so you may never miss another story like this.